This only helps the Patriots' new narrative. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron on the daily Patriots content. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and guess what? Hit the like button too because I'd appreciate it. So, today, jumping right into it, ladies and gentlemen, article came out basically ranking teams, the probability that they could, one, jump up, win their division, and two, be able to make the playoffs. Now, before we even jump into that, let me say this. The narrative last year, we all know, was just a massive, you know what, show, a debacle. It was tough to watch offensively. Defensively, a lot of us thought at the beginning of the year, hey, they were going to be the saving grace. No, they were not. It was just a downhill dive, a nose dive right into the ground. It was tough to watch. But now we move into the new era, out with the old, in with the new. Mike Vrabel, turning things around, keeping people accountable, and not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but great players to surround Drake May and more great players on the defense. Now, this isn't going unnoticed by others in the media and around the NFL. They know the Patriots are an up and coming team. They have a lot of young talent, and they have bolstered a lot of other talent on that team by being willing to spend some money in free agency. Now, we've talked about before Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. If anything, Vegas has them finishing at the bottom of the division. Patriots, am I saying they could beat the Bills? Yes, I am saying that. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it guaranteed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I guarantee. No, I'm not saying that. But there is a chance. So what this list does, as I said, sorry, I got a sneeze coming. Whew. I think it's gonna leave me. Anyways, the likelihood of each of these teams winning their division and then making the playoffs. Now, you look at, for instance, the number one on this list was the 49ers. 35% chance to win the division. Chances are it's going to be a tough uphill battle playing the Rams. The Rams have just getting more weapons, and Matt Stafford continues to look like he's not necessarily falling off. And then to make the playoffs, 62%, which is solid. Next up, so that doesn't surprise me. The 49ers should not surprise anyone. They were in the Super Bowl not that long ago. NFC North, the Bears. This does surprise me. Just because we all remember watching the Patriots and Bears last year, and the whole year, everyone was saying the New England Patriots, their offensive line sucks. Yes, they were rough. The Chicago Bears may have had, I think according to PFF, Pro Football Focus, they did actually have statistically the worst offensive line. Regardless, though, Caleb Williams had the better weapons than Drake May and still couldn't make it work in Chicago. Again, that was a tough division. I'm not going to argue. You had the three other teams end up making the playoffs, so that was tough for the Bears. But I don't see them ahead of the Patriots in this situation because, again, I think the Patriots, in my mind, are already ahead of the Dolphins and already ahead of the Jets. And so it would be the big boy, the Buffalo Bills, they'd have to surmount. Now, you look at the AFC East. As I said, Miami, yeah. Jets, yeah. The big issue, the Bills. Now, we do know that the Bills defensively lost some players, but I have a hard time seeing. I think they are still in their kind of pocket where they can push for a Super Bowl. So it's going to be difficult. So I understand the 14%. I will concede to the 14%. Now, making the playoffs at 34% with the schedule the Patriots have, I think that should be higher. You could totally disagree. You could say, Aaron, you're being ridiculous. This is their first year. They have a new coach. They have a ton of new players. Yes, but let's remember, new coach with experience has been to the playoffs, has been to an AFC championship game. Know the things he did wrong, what he wants to do different to keep this team accountable and moving forward. Second, personnel, incredibly better, exponentially better. So again, I do not think it'd be a surprise if the Patriots made the wild card. Would not be surprised. If they won the division, yes, I'd be surprised. I'll be honest. Making the wild card, no, not at all. So again, this is just news, and then there was multiple other teams that were below the Patriots. But again, this just shows that the narrative for the Patriots continues to change. And people are seeing that. And again, I know there's still a lot of skeptics out there. I see it in the comments all the time where it's like, are you serious, Aaron? It's going to be a couple years. And people just dogging on the Patriots. Again, narrative is shifting. Are you jumping on the train or not? You jumping on the train or not? Jump on. It's fun. Anyways, comment below. Tell me what you think. You think this is hogwash? You think these are pretty good percentages? Let me hear from you. Next up, just because people always want to flirt with these ideas, Trey Hendrickson. Apparently, there's still beef between him and the Bengals, even though he got essentially a 1-year extension. It's not Myles Garrett money, but it's pretty solid money. Apparently, he could still say, hey, I'm not playing this 2025-2026 season. Again, I doubt that happening. But again, people always want to throw out trade rumors. This is a possibility. You never know. And just like Tyreek Hill yesterday we talked about, I saw multiple things on Trey Hendrickson. Now, I think that Trey Hendrickson would be coveted more by teams that, for instance, that are Super Bowl contenders. So again, the Detroit Lions, I could see them trying to get him, adding some more depth, or not depth. Obviously, he wouldn't be a depth piece, but having someone on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. I think that would be really big for the Lions, because last year you saw the issues they had when it came to their defense and losing so many players to injury, and their depth was struggling. It was similar to the Patriots. The Patriots were like, shoot, we're picking up this guy off the practice squad for the Raiders. You're starting on our offensive line. That's what the Lions were doing on defense. It was wild. So anyways, I could see him going more to a team like that, or even like the Commies, a team that, hey, who's going to help put us over the edge to help us get to the Super Bowl? Again, you're probably like, well, Aaron, couldn't that be the Patriots? Yes. But my only argument is Landry, great pickup by the Patriots. I think he can do well in this system under Mike Vrabel once again. Keon White, I think the same thing. And Swinson getting drafted out of LSU. And I know you're going to say, Aaron, your consistent theme when you talk about certain players, especially in the wide receiver room, is there's a lot of potential. And I know that a lot of you are like, but they have to prove it. So let me rephrase that. I think a lot of these guys can prove it under the new system and coaching that they have. I do think Keon White can be a great presence on the edge and prove that. I think he's proven that before. He has that potential, but again, I don't think he was in the right system last year with Covington as the defensive coordinator. Now, Terrell Williams, Mike Vrabel, I think he's going to be in a much, much better system, a true defensive end. I think the same with Landry, and I think Swinson has a lot of potential as a rookie to rotate in and be a very helpful piece for this team. Again, they want to throw money at Trey Hendrickson, great, but it ain't going to be cheap after that trade, because he only has 1 year left, and after that year, you know he's gonna want the bag. He is gonna want the bag. So, again, comment below. What do you think? Percentages, Patriots win the division or make the playoffs? Too low, too high? What's your thoughts? Trey Hendrickson, yay or nay? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We got a little contest going below. All you got to do is subscribe if you have not already in the month of June. If you've already done that, you can get a membership for dirt cheap, or you could buy a piece of merch down below. I truly appreciate your support. You guys rock. We'll talk later. Peace.